just a game of touch with a couple of mates. Like I just love competing and trying to beat the person that's opposite me. So that just motivates me.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Up and Coming. I'm Tanasio, Winikerei.
And I'm Connor McMullen.
And this podcast is where we interview rising stars who are on the path of accomplishing their goals and playing sport at an elite level.
Yeah, so Will Harris is an Australian rugby union player who plays for the New South Wales Waratahs in Super Rugby. Graduating school in 2018 at the Scots College, he played 3 years in the first 15, then going on to play for his country in the Australian Schoolboys and the Australian Under-20s. Following that, playing down at East in first grade to then making his debut for the Tars on the 3rd of July against the Reds. So welcome, Will.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
No problem. So how you going?
Yeah, good, mate. Just in the middle of pre-season right now.
How's pre-season been? Has it been tough?
Yeah, so we're only 1.5 weeks in now. So, yeah, it's been tough. Last week was hard. It's just long days. Like the sessions in general, like the actual sessions haven't been too bad, but just like real long days. And
So what's like the starting time and finish, sort of?
yesterday I started at 7, didn't finish till 4. So
And there's a pretty big squad. How many guys have got training there?
we've got 36, I think, at the moment, and then probably I think we've got 10 Wallabies. So like 10 will drop out, and the 10 Wallabies will come back after Christmas.
Yeah, nice.
So how many pre-seasons have you done with Waratahs?
This is my second, because the first one I was on the Schoolboys tour.
Okay.
So, yeah, they get easier the more you do, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Did you have testing on the first day?
I didn't do it because of my hammy, but yeah, they had the yo-yo and no strength testing because that just
Just
makes
come
you
back.
sore.
Yeah.
So just gonna start from the beginning. Where'd you grow up?
I was born in Townsville, so I grew up there. Lived in Townsville till I was
Queenslander.
about, yeah, mate.
Let's go.
You a Queenslander?
Yeah.
Oh, unreal. Yeah, lived there till I was about 6, and we moved to Brisbane for a year, and then back to Townsville, and then down to Sydney when I was 7 or 8.
Yeah, right. And have you got a pretty big family, small family, or?
There's 5 of us. My parents are split up, so I live with my mum in Willara. We've got a brother. You guys know my brother. He's in year 10, and a sister that's a year and a half older than me, and then obviously mum and dad. Yeah.
How important are they to you?
Yeah, massive. I see a fair bit of Nick.
Yeah.
My sister works a fair bit, so I don't see much of her, and obviously I only live with mum, so I see dad every now and then. But yeah, really important to me. Like I think everyone's family is important to them.
So you're all down here, sorry?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, all down here. Grandparents are still up in Townsville with my cousins, but my immediate family's down here.
Yeah.
And then what primary school did you go to? Was it in New South Wales or back?
Yeah, Northbridge, over the bridge.
Yeah.
So we only moved over to Willara in February this year. So I went to Northbridge until halfway through year 5, and then I think I needed to get a spot here. So mum and dad sent me here halfway through year 5.
How old were you when you moved from Queensland to here?
I was 7.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're real young.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah, okay. So a couple of years there.
Yeah. Enough to still go for Queensland.
Have you been back there much?
Not recently, but we're going back for Christmas, which would be good.
Nice. Yeah, I'll see you there.
The borders are open up. Are you from Townsville, are you?
Nah, joke. I'm from Brisbane.
Okay, yeah, sweet.
So what sports did you play growing up?
I played heaps of AFL in Brisbane, and then played a season down at the Eastern Bulldogs with mates from school. Just AFL. What else did I play? I played a fair bit of tennis, which is good, and a bit of golf, but mostly just AFL.
Did you say you were good at AFL?
Oh, probably. I don't know. Probably not. I was all right.
Being tall.
Used to muck around.
Yeah. So how did rugby come into the equation?
When we moved down here, well, my dad played rugby, so I didn't play till we moved to Sydney, but I think
So it's in the family.
He was always going to make me play rugby. So.
Yeah. Then, like, what was your dream growing up as a kid? Was it AFL? Was it rugby?
Nah, it was actually probably early days when we lived in Brisbane. I always loved the Brisbane Lions when they won those couple of premierships, and they had like Jonathan Brown and Vossi and Nathan Ackermanis and all that. So it was probably AFL early, but then once I started playing footy, it was always to play rugby, play for the Wallabies.
Yeah. Did you have any like memories in the park or any like?
A fair few in the backyard with Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to play every day when we got home from school. We'd like the khaki uniforms would just get covered in grass stains, and we'd just go to town. It'd always end in tears or something. Yeah. It was good though.
Yeah, and then so what year did you start Scots? Year 7?
No, I was halfway through year 5.
Oh, year 5.
Yeah, so I needed to get a spot because obviously coming down from town from Queensland, it's tough to get a spot in these sort of schools. So I went halfway through year 5. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got a spot in year 7.
And did you feel like it was better starting in year 5, going through to year 7? You knew for you guys coming into the senior school?
Yeah, I think so. There was a lot of good memories in year 6. Like we did a few cool things. Like we had a tour for rugby up to Queensland, and we had like the rugby lunch where you go with the first 15 and the junior first 15. So there was some cool stuff that I probably wouldn't have got to experience if I didn't go to Scots. Yeah. And then also obviously the mates. It's probably easy to transition. Yeah. But I think I ended up being better mates with blokes that weren't from the prep school, to be honest. Yeah. So.
And then obviously like boarders coming in and stuff like that. Did you connect with them
one of my real good mates is Carter Tuck, and he was there in year 6, which doesn't normally happen. But I became real good mates with him, and I love going out to the country. So whenever I can get out to his place, I love getting out there.
Yeah, awesome.
Were you always one of the big boys in your grade coming through school? I
was a real tall, skinny, lanky thing.
Like Nick.
Yeah, like Nick. Exactly like that. I was always one of the taller ones, but I was really skinny probably till about year 10, year 9, 10. So nah.
Fill out.
Yeah.
So did you enjoy school when you were younger, especially high school?
Yeah, loved it. I still such good mates with all my close mates from school. So it was such a good experience, especially at this school. Like, there's just so many opportunities here, and obviously, sport was a massive part of my school, and I loved all of that. I really enjoyed it.
What was your highlight?
I missed out on all of like the formal and the speech day and all that, but I'd say the highlight was the footy, in particular, that when we beat Kings here in year 11, won the premiership. That was pretty special.
And then is like academics been a big priority for you?
Since leaving school, no.
During school?
Yeah, no. My parents pushed me pretty hard to do well in the academics. They probably wanted me to do a bit better than I did, but I was happy with how I did, and so I tried hard.
Like, how was balancing all the sport with academics as well?
Yeah, pretty tough, to be honest, because in year 12 especially, I was doing a fair bit of like training with sevens programs and other sort of programs outside of school, which was obviously after schools, as well as all the stuff with Brian and all the first 15 training. So there was a fair bit on. More just the fact that I was pretty tired after like doing all the training, and then to try and sit down and study, and I'd just be like falling asleep at my computer. Yeah, so it was tough, but I got through it. It was right.
Yeah.
So playing first 15 in year 10, it's a pretty big deal, especially in the forwards. How did you deal with the pressures and expectation?
It was a really good experience. I think it helped me a lot going into year 11 and 12, just to have that experience. As far as the pressure, I used to get pretty nervous.
Yeah.
I remember Billy, I think you had on here last week. Yeah. He didn't tell me till a couple of weeks after I made my debut. He said, "Mate, you asked so many questions." We were just sitting up in one of those buildings in the main building, and apparently I was just chewing his ear off, just asking questions. But I think it's like any game. Once you get involved in the game, you're sweet. I don't really think anyone really expected too much of me, to be honest. Like year 10 is, if I just did my job, I think everyone was going to be happy. But I really enjoyed it. I made some really good mates in that year, and obviously we weren't really meant to win the premiership that year, and we did. Sort of had like a underdog side, like people like Archie Gavin and like Nick Shannon, who I'm still really good mates with now, were in that team. So yeah, it was such a good experience.
Yeah.
What did you think like helps you win? Like, were you skilled or?
We were really fit.
Yeah.
And like there was no like flashy play. Like there was, everyone just knew their job. We played a really good brand of footy that year. Like we played this 3-pod system where everyone was it was just like clockwork, and Brian was just pulling the strings, and it was just unbelievable. Plus we had Yazzie.
Down the wing.
Yeah, that was probably his best year. So he just tore up anyone who was marking him. But we played this real good brand of footy, and then we were really fit, and everyone just knew their job. So it just happened for us.
So that credit to Brian?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was just like this system where there was like 2 edge pods and this 1 pod in the middle, and there was just heaps of like blocks and like everyone just hitting hard lines, and yeah, he just knew exactly what was going on, knew exactly what he was doing, knew exactly where to attack. So yeah, credit to him.
How would you rate him like among the other coaches that you've had?
If not the best, right up there. I got along really well with him off the field as well, and he's sort of like a mentor for me. Like, I got along really well with him, and even now, still when I have to make big decisions around footy, I give him a call or get a coffee with him and just hear what he has to say. But as far as the coaching goes, he's obviously world class. He's coached England. He's coached the Barbarians. Like, I think he almost brings it back a bit for school level because he doesn't want to be too over the top. But he's a world class coach, and you guys are lucky to have him.
Yeah, no, very lucky. And then in year 12, captain of rugby. Is this like a big accomplishment for you? You reckon?
Yeah, massive privilege to be able to lead your mates. I was never the captain. Sort of going through school, like going through the younger years, it was always Nathan.
Yeah.
And he had a fair bit on his plate that year. He was head prefect, and I don't know whether that had anything to do with it, but no, it was a massive privilege, and obviously I really enjoyed being captain. But I was more just focused on the team doing well.
Yeah, for sure. And then with a few tough losses that year, weren't able to win the premiership. Do you reckon, like, how have those losses shaped you as a player today?
I don't know whether they've so much shaped me as a player, but as a person, I think you learn a fair bit from losing. Yeah. Just a bit of resilience and all those words that get thrown around. It would have been lovely to win. Don't get me wrong, but I think when you lose, you learn more about yourself as a player, and sort of maybe what you could have done in the game or even before the game.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether if you win, sometimes those things get covered up. So I think we probably all grew a fair bit as people and players after that game.
Yeah, and have you played with some of those players from that final year still?
Yeah, I'm playing with Jeremy now, Jeremy
Yep.
Williams.
Yep.
He's in our squad for this year. And obviously I played with him down at Easts.
Yep.
Apart from that, I played a bit with Hugo Patterson. Apart from that, everyone's just sort of gone their separate ways.
Yeah.
So when did you decide to take rugby seriously, and when did you think that you could actually make a career out of it?
I decided to take it serious. I don't know if it's still around, but there was this it was called the Gold Squad in year 9. And I didn't make it, and all my mates did, and I was so off it. That just lit a fire in me, and I just really started to train hard and get in the gym and I was like, I want to do this. That was when I started training seriously. I probably didn't take the actual rugby or like think that I could make anything out of it until end of year 11, start of year 12, where started getting a bit of interest from a few clubs and thinking maybe I can actually do this as a job. But up until then, I was just enjoying it. I was just loving playing footy like any other kid. But yeah, probably halfway, start of year 12 is when I started thinking maybe I can do this.
Yep. So you're saying like a couple clubs approached you? In year 12?
Yeah, I had a bit of interest from a couple of clubs.
Is that all union league?
Well, so they rugby union sort of just came as as Rugby Australia, and then they were like obviously from New South Wales, you can stay in with the Waratahs if you want, otherwise you can go wherever you want. So apart from that, it was mostly league. I did a fair bit with Melbourne.
You went down.
Yeah,
Went down there, didn't you?
Yeah, a couple of times. As I like that between year 11 and 12, I did 4 days down there with them with the Storm and in this camp, and it's still the hardest 4 days of training I've ever done. So
Really?
it was intense. Like we did this beach session where they have like this like UFC wrestling coach. We did like this wrestling contact conditioning session on this beach, and like just under here, like we were doing wrestling, that just all got like all the skin got shredded off there. And yeah, it's still the hardest session I've done. It was insane.
Did you come up through the Waratahs system?
Yeah. Just sort of through the schools, the New South Wales schools and all that. Played a fair bit of sevens, so that's more Rugby Australia. I think you did those sevens. I'm not sure if you did them as well, but those New South Wales sevens comps and all that, which was good.
Today, has NRL been like a thought for you, or rugby league just in general?
Yeah, I really considered it. I had a bit of interest from obviously Melbourne and then the Rabbitohs and the Roosters as well a little bit. So I really considered it. But no, I'm really happy to be in Union.
Yep.
I think it's on the way up, and obviously I've sort of got my foot in the door there now at the Waratahs, so hopefully I can sort of build on that. So I'm really happy to be in Union.
And then so back to like the end of year 12, you made the Australian Schoolboys. Like, how was that experience? I know you toured overseas. How was that?
Yeah, great experience. So we got to play a few games here against New Zealand and Tonga, I think it was, and then the tour was unreal. We had such a good group of blokes on that tour, which a few of them are still playing with now.
Yep.
But yeah, we went to Ireland and Scotland for I think it was 4 or 5 weeks, and like just had the best time. There's such a different way they look at rugby over there. Like over there, they just love their rugby, especially the Irish.
Yeah, right.
Like when we got billeted out in a town called Cork, and like the mum and dad, along with the bloke that I was staying with, were just like rugby fanatics. Just like loved it. Like loved everything about it. Wanted to know everything that we were doing, like our training and when we were playing. And came and watched I think they came and watched all of our games when we were in Ireland, which was like hours of driving. They just love it over there, which is so cool.
Did you play at some big stadiums on that tour as well?
Yeah, we played at Munster Stadium. I think it's called Thomond Park, which is where Munster play, which was so cool.
Yeah.
It probably holds like 40,000 50,000, which is unreal.
Then following that, you went straight into grade rugby down at East, bypassing Colts. Did you think you were ready for that?
It's probably not at the time, but Paulie, the coach down there, he's another sort of mentor of mine, and he said, mate, like I wouldn't be picking you if you're not ready. I think he's came up to me the week before I debuted against Uni. I'd played a few trial games, and he goes, mate, like I don't really want to pick you, but I've just got no reason not to. So you're ready, so just back yourself. And yeah.
So playing and tackling against schoolboys, going to tackling men. How was the difference?
Yeah, well, by that point I'd played a fair bit of men's footy, but the first game of men's I played, so I went out of school, went on the Schoolboys tour, came back and did a bit of preseason with the Tars, and then we had a trial game, and obviously all the Wallabies for the Tars were out, which back then was heaps, like Keps, Izzy, Bernard Foley, Nick Phipps, like all that, they were all still there. So we just had like no one for this trial game against the Highlanders, so they took me over. I think it was my first ever game of men's footy against the Highlanders.
Oh,
and,
that's pretty good then.
and I was petrified.
Yeah.
But once you sort of get into the game and you realise they're just humans, like nothing special.
Yeah.
Then once I'd played that game, I was like sort of like shit. If that's the Highlanders, then I'll be right back here.
Yeah.
So.
Then obviously it's like such a good culture down at East. Was this like a big moment for you when you made your debut down there?
Yeah, I love it down there. Like honestly, it's the best club in the world. Like whenever I get a chance to go back down there, even if I'm not playing, just to go down and just get around the club, it is just such a good spot. I hope you boys will be down there after school.
For sure. And then Australian under-20s. How was that tour and experience? Obviously went overseas again for that one.
Yeah, really good. It was like the Schoolboys tour in a way, but everyone's a bit older, so we sort of had a bit more free reign. in terms of like from the rugby stuff, like in terms of the way we approach trainings and the games, all the way through to like off the field where we just got a bit more like time away and time to do whatever we wanted. So it was unreal. Like we were together for so long. We had a couple of weeks up in the Gold Coast playing like an Oceania tournament. So that was 3 weeks, and then we had another 2-week camp before we left to Argentina. So that was 5, and then we were away for 5 weeks. So we were together for 10 weeks. So I roomed with Scott's boy Darcy Breen for 10 weeks, and by the end of it, not even like we were just like it was like we were brothers. Like we just like knew each other so well, and obviously really high standard of footy as well. And like the coach was Jason Gilmore, who is now defence coach at the Waratahs, and I get along really well with him, and he's such a good coach, and I learnt heaps from him. So it helped me a lot. With my footy. So
losing to France in the grand final, such a close game, what was going through your mind at the time?
To be honest, it was sort of I was gassed. I got taken off I think 60, 65 minutes in. So when we actually lost, it was sort of like shit. Like sort of what could I have done? What could have we done as a team to win? But it was such a cool experience playing in that final. And also the semi-final was against Argentina, in Argentina, and like everyone's jumping up and down, singing, and like it was just that's the best game I've ever played in that semi-final. So although we lost, just playing in the World Cup's like nothing, like no other games you're playing. Like there's just so much like camaraderie with each team, and like it was still a good experience. I wish we won though.
So what motivates you when you play? Like, does that motivate you, losing big games like that, or?
If we were to play them again, it would motivate me. I just love competing. Like, doesn't matter what it is. I just love like competing and trying to win, and just I'm a very competitive person. So anything, whether it's a game of pool down at the pub or like even like just a game of touch with a couple of mates, like I just love competing and trying to beat the person that's opposite me. So that just motivates me.
Yeah.
And then this year making your debut for the Waratahs, like what did this mean to you?
Yeah, obviously a dream come true.
A
dream come true. It's been a fair build-up because we had the like normal Super Rugby season at the start where I was really trying to get a crack and didn't end up getting it. And then obviously we had the break for COVID and then came back and I was thrown in first game. So I was really proud of that. And dream come true.
Like, did the coach tell you at training that you were going to be making, or did he give you a ring?
So the team just gets announced. Like we have like a meeting, team meeting on a Monday morning, and they put up the like photos of the players that are going to be like what you see before the game. Yeah. And I just saw my face up there. And I was like, oh wow, like
goosebumps.
Yeah, goosebumps. Just over the moon. Just so excited to play.
And then that jersey presentation, did you go?
No, not really. Someone spoke. Jed Holloway spoke. Just said congratulations, mate. Like obviously he'd been making your debut. No, we actually didn't get presented with jerseys till like later on in the year where they framed them up for us and gave them to us. Yeah.
Was your family able to come down for that and watch?
Yeah. It was in Queensland, and it was like right during sort of the height of Corona. So I think Dad said that he was up there for work, and Mum somehow weased it all the way through, which was good. Yeah, it was good to have them. Yeah. I actually got in trouble because I went over and gave him a hug after the game, and one of the cameras picked me up and said, like, you're not social distancing or whatever, so I had to go get a COVID test on the Monday, which was worth it.
Up the nose.
Yeah, exactly.
So where do you see yourself in 5 years? Like, what sort of goals do you have?
The 2023 World Cup is a massive goal of mine. So that's probably my longest term goal at the moment. Obviously, just got to make a base at the Waratahs and hopefully start there most of this year and just make a solid foundation there, and then hopefully go from there. I'd like to be probably a one club player if I can at the Waratahs, play as many games as I can for them.
Don't want to play for Reds?
Nah, depends. I don't know. Nah, probably not. Not in my mind at this stage.
Do you have any superstitions like on game day or anything?
Yeah, more routine than superstition. Like if I don't do them, then I won't wig out. But I always have a shower when I get to, like, just before I put my playing kit on. I'll have a shower. What else I do? I always have wet hair. I put my left boot on first, like socks, and then left boot, right boot. Apart from that, not really, no.
Then finish up. So, like, what's the best advice you've been given that you'd want to pass on?
My mum always said to me, whatever you're doing, just do it 100%, whether that's training, games, whatever you're doing, I just do it to the best of your ability. And I think if you do that, then you can't really be disappointed, you can't really get upset with whatever the result is. But whatever the result is, it'll hold you in good stead.
Sure, yeah.
So just before we finish up, we've got a couple questions from the viewers. So I'll say a couple and you
Easy.
say a couple. Can you give a shout out to Daniel Farr, please?
Daniel, is he a Scots boy?
Yeah, he's Scots boy.
Good Scots man. How you going, mate? Hope you're well. Hope you obviously, if you listen to this, you probably love your rugby. So all the best for this season.
Max McCarthy said, "What's your ping pong game like? Heard you got pumped by Hambo."
Hey, Maxie's obviously a liar. Yeah, we used to play when I was in Fairfax House. We used to play every night, which probably wasn't great for my study, but yeah, we used to play every night, and me and Jack used to towel him up. So he's just probably a bit jealous. I've been working on my backhand, Maxie. So whenever you're ready for a game, let's go.
Rocco.Rossi35. Your favourite player growing up?
Sonny Bill. Love Sonny Bill. Yeah.
Jeremy Williams.
Oh, here we go.
Why are you so stiff?
He's no comment.
Ben Baker. Why do they call you the slice and dice?
Oh yeah. We just had a bit of a running joke.
Yeah.
Playing through school, I'm slice, he's dice. So he always tries to be slice, but we both know it's me.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks for coming in, Will.
Cheers. Yeah. Thanks for having us.
Make sure you like, subscribe, share it around, and yeah, thanks again for coming in. Yeah, we'll see you next video.
Cheers.
Thanks, boys.
Awesome.